G'day, we're in the shed again today and we're looking at how you can recondition, let's say, rejuvenate might be a better word, a leather steering wheel. If your leather steering wheel has some wear on it, this is probably particularly going to be on the top side of it, where that steering wheel's been left outside in the sun, and that's where it's going to quickly wear. I frequently see leather steering wheels and they've really worn almost through to the point where they've torn or they've busted right through. They've just worn clean out on the top side. That's generally where they go. Now, leather is a perishable item. It will go eventually, probably. But having said that, I have cars here, hundreds of thousands of Ks on the clock, and they still have their leather wheels on them. And I have done another video about retrimming. So there is a point, you know, if you've got a hole in your leather or it's almost, it's paper thin, or generally just before it'll tear or get really loose, you know, on the top side of your steering wheel. When that happens, you're going to have to retrim it. See the other video on this channel for how to do that. So this is a leather wheel. This is for our upcoming project. This is for Project 6-seater. The Project 6-seater is a dual cab Hilux that we're working on, and it's a factory 6-seater, and we want to make it a little bit more nicer, you know, a little bit, that's terrible English, a little bit nicer for you know, as a daily conveyance. And one of the things I really like, which really jazzes up your interior, is a leather steering wheel. So this is from a wrecker. Got this pretty cheap because it was showing signs of wear on the top side, and we're about halfway through the kind of reconditioning, rejuvenating process. This is a great thing to do even on your standard wheels. So this is how we did it. So this is completely disassembled, as you can tell. And taking it completely apart does help you out to do it. You don't have to do it. You can do it in the car. You can do it complete. But because this is a brand new wheel, it's off the car anyway, may as well take it apart and clean everything out. So you have to take, this is what we're doing here, fitting this wheel. It's going to give me a nice leather wheel on the car, and it's going to give me steering wheel controls, and we're doing a cruise control conversion as well. So all of that will be done as we fit this. So this doesn't have, this ute doesn't have any of that standard. Doesn't have the cruise control, steering wheel controls, none of that. But that'll be the topic of another video. But because this came from a wrecker, these were all pretty cruddy. So we've taken the controls off, we've given them a nice clean up. Now, because these are painted painted grey, and it is painted, you can wear it through to the under black if you're not careful. We've just used a light cleaning product like an Armor All multi-purpose cleaner. Actually, I think what I did here is I just did these in the kitchen sink, but you don't want to get water in it, so just, you know, wring your cloth out and you know, give it a good clean. It's come up quite nice. It was very greasy and dirty. Now it feels smooth. It feels like they should feel if they're clean. It's a nice smooth finish. It feels like they're clean. The back of it, the back side, the plastic. So firstly to get these off, there's just two screws, and then you just kind of wiggle them out carefully. There are locating pins in these, so you just got to wiggle them out carefully. This is pretty much standard for any steering wheel that you want to do. To remove the whole steering wheel, there's just your Torx keys in here. You pop your little side panels out, get in there with your Torx key and undo them. That should sort that out for you. That's just fallen out. I'll have to remember to pick that up in a minute. Torx keys in there, then take your center nut off, and then a steering wheel puller will pop it off. Careful of your airbag and all that sort of thing. Plenty of videos on how to remove a steering wheel. To clean that plastic up, I use Gumption. That's a kitchen product. It's an abrasive product, so you want to be careful, and you want to do it, you know, probably try it in so the good thing with a steering wheel like this is it's got Hilux on the back of it. You can tell it's come from a wrecker. You've got a piece of plastic here which is the same grain and finish as the rest of it, and you can trial your scrubbing product here, knowing that it won't damage the piece you will see. So having scrubbed that back, I've been able to get all the kind of imperfections out. It's come up great. It looks brand new. So that's nice and clean. My steering wheel controls are nice and clean. My cruise control unit's nice and clean. Then we come to the steering wheel, and this is where you want to be doubly careful, particularly if your steering wheel has not is quite worn, and this one was quite worn. What my best practice is with these things is you can get like an Armor All or Meguiar's leather spray-on product. Really quick and easy to coat your wheel. You got to treat your steering wheel and your leather interior, in my opinion, like a pair of leather shoes. Like it's going to wear. So you've got to condition that leather. If you do so, you'll be like the leather in my Land Cruiser, which is 450,000 Ks and going strong, no rips and tears in it. It's worn, but it's wearing well. And since we keep the upkeep on it, it looks very, very nice. It's not, it doesn't look like it's brand new. It does have wear marks on it, but it's going strong and I don't envisage it wearing through anytime soon. So the product I use on this, you know, there's a couple of products. Firstly, you want to get it clean. Steering wheels can get a kind of a shiny gloss to them. They can kind of look like really shiny. That would be, it could be Armor All, like Armor All protectant that's been put on it. It could be hand cream. That's quite common. People moisturize their hand, get in their car and drive the car, and it can make their steering wheels really shiny. But this is pitted at the top all along here. So I figured that that's a car, it's just symptomatic of a car that's been spent most of its life outside. They can wear in numerous places, but that's generally where they go. It's just sun endlessly beating down on the top of the steering wheel and drying the leather out. And then the pressure of having to handle your steering wheel, your wheels on the hands on the steering wheel as you're turning it around, that can aid in the wear. So what do? Okay, well first you want to clean it and you want to get anything that's on it that's acting as a barrier to let what we're going to put on it later to condition the leather. You want to get that off. So a good cleaning product, an automotive cleaning product that you could use is, you know, I'm quite the fan of Armor All multi-purpose cleaner or an equivalent. Spray that on, give it a wipe off. With this wheel, I've gone to an abrasive, and I did it in the kitchen sink actually, is I got a scourer with a little bit of gumption on it, and then just, you know, but again, before you do this, whatever product you're applying, if you strip the steering wheel right back to this, you've got pieces of leather here that fit underneath the steering controls, here, here, and here, that you won't see. So you can try it before you do it on the main body of the wheel, so that if you do get a finish that you're not happy with or you wear through the leather, you stop, you go, no, that's not going to work, you've got to find an alternate way. If you can hit it with something like this non-abrasive Armor All all-purpose cleaner and maybe just a cleaning cloth and just give it a good, you know, rub it, get it, and then you stand back and it's kind of a matte finish, you go, yep, no, it feels clean, that's great, that's all you need to do. With this one, I did get a little bit of an abrasive product on it, lightly, because if you get a scourer and an abrasive product like Gumption or Jif or something, and really work it, what you're going to do is you're going to work through the leather in no time. All I wanted to do was just get that crud off it, because there was some greasy parts of the wheel. I don't know if it was oil from the wreckers or grease from on their hands when they pulled it off, but there were some parts that weren't coming off easy. But you've got to do it so gently, because you will just, it's leather, it's not indestructible, and an abrasive sand-like product will wear through that leather in short order. So gentle, do it very lightly with the product. I said, if you can get it off with just a non-abrasive product, that's ideal. But if you can't, you might need to hit it with something stronger. You know, so I would go like something like Armor All all-purpose cleaner, or if you can do it in your kitchen sink, just a cleaning product. If that doesn't get it clean, then maybe go to a scourer with no abrasive product. But again, very lightly, very lightly. If that doesn't work, then maybe a bit of an abrasive product, like I ended up having to do on this. But again, very lightly. There's a couple places on this wheel where I did hit it too hard at the back, where the grooves are at the back of the wheel, and I'm a bit disappointed in myself that I did that. I wasn't paying attention, and it has worn it a little more than I would have liked. So, but hopefully you can get away without an abrasive product and just get it clean. And you should be able to, unless you've had like grease on your hands or engine oil on your hands, you should be able to do that. So once you've got it clean, what I put on it then is I put saddle dressing on it. This is leather conditioner. Saddle dressing is what I use. It comes in really big tins, and I can use it on my work boots, on my dress boots, and I use it even on the interior of my car. It makes a mess because you end up like this, and you can see that, hopefully you can see there's lots of greasy smears all over it. So once it's dry, so you've scrubbed it, or you've wiped it down, you've got it clean, make sure it's dry, and then I massage saddle dressing leather cleaner into it, and leave it so that there's enough on it that's tacky. You can still feel it on the outside. And then when I've come back this morning, there's lots of the wheel that's just a bit of a dull finish. It just needs a polish off, and because that leather product has soaked into the wheel, particularly at the top here, where it where it's most worn, that it's just soaked it in. But it is still a greasy finish to touch. It is still greasy. So I've done that. This is the second coat. So I've done that, and then I buffed it off to a smooth leather finish. And then I've got in this case we have a black steering wheel. I've got black boot polish, just like you do polish your boots. And I put black boot polish on it, and then let that sit for a minute, and then buffed it off with a fine haired buffing brush. You could also use a rag and buff it off. So I've done that. That's the second, and then now it's back in leather conditioner again after I've buffed all that boot polish off. And once this is done, I will shine it again with I will put more boot polish on it and then buff it up, and it'll be ready to go back on the car. Now there is still wear on this that I can see, but it's come up $1 million on what it was. And look, this, if I keep looking after the wheel, this should last me a long period of time. Now, but you don't really want to let your steering wheel get to that. What I would suggest, if you've got a new car, I would do it personally. If you're leaving your car out in direct daylight, I would probably do it a couple of times a year. If your car's always shedded in an underground car parks and rarely sees the sun, then you can probably get away with conditioning your wheel once a year. I do mine twice a year, even though my car's always shedded and it's not parked outside a whole lot. I condition my leather steering wheel and my whole interior twice a year. And what I will try and do if I'm got the car parked up for a couple of days ago, I know I don't need to use that on the weekend. What I'll do is I'll do the same thing. I won't take it apart. I'll do it in the car, and I will rub leather. I will clean it, just Armor All multi-purpose cleaner again. Wipe it down, and then I will rub leather conditioner into it, saddle dressing, and then I'll let it sit. If I'm not driving for the weekend, rub it in, let it sit, come back. I've got to drive it on Monday morning. You just grab a rag, quickly buff it off, no problems, away you go. And that will really help to maintain your leather steering wheel. It's just it's like any other leather product, as I said. Work boots, or dress boots. If you scuff your toes, you got to polish your boots. You've got to put some leather conditioner on them, and they will last a long time. But if you don't do that, they will wear out prematurely, and a leather steering wheel is no exception. And when you go, as anybody who's sold a car privately out there knows, any imperfection is going to detract from the market value of your car. When they jump in and grab the wheel and the top of the wheel is nearly worn clean off, that's going to be a detractor for a potential buyer. Now, getting a steering wheel retrimmed is going to be circa $300. It's not the end of the world, but it's still a cost. And it's just that one thing. Like if you're spending a lot of money on a car and you go and have a look at it, you want to have a look at it and go, well, if they haven't looked after the steering wheel and it's all torn up and the leather driver's seat's all tore up, what else haven't they looked after? That's generally how I think of things. So I might be alone in that theory, but it's not that hard to do. You don't need to go to this extreme unless if the leather is really starting to wear. You've never really paid any attention to it, or you've just bought a second-hand car and you go, geez, that leather's pretty worn. You don't have to do to the extreme that I've done. You can do it in the car, but if you take it off, it's really only taken off this time because of the other stuff we're doing to it. But leather conditioner is great. We'll do another video another time on doing it on a car interior, which I've done many times in cleaning a car interior and then putting leather conditioner on it. It can really make a big difference to your car, really soften that leather up. And it's something that I would argue you should do at least reasonably regularly, although doing a full leather condition is quite a lengthy process and will probably mean ideally your car's, sitting and out of action for a couple of days while you let that leather conditioner do its work. So anyway, if you've got a leather wheel, Hopefully this will help you. If your leather's just too far gone beyond this and you want to completely recondition your wheel, check out our other video on that one, and keep an eye out for further upcoming videos on Project Six-Seater. In the next couple of days, when we have this, we're waiting on a new clock spring. When we get the new clock spring, we'll be fitting this. This is going to be the first thing we do to Project Six-Seater. We're going to fit the steering wheel, get the steering wheel controls wired up, and fit our new cruise control kit, because I do not like driving cars without cruise control, and it's going to be great to get cruise control in this thing. It's going to be a lot easier to drive it around. It's much more than this, but anyway, that's only one piece of the kit. So anyway, watch out for that video. I hope this was useful for you. Thanks for watching.